Hello, this is the 8th lecture of the Semantic SEO course. In this lecture, we will talk about the meta descriptions. So first of all, you need to know is the data and experiment says meta description are not the ranking factor. I use duplicate meta descriptions, miss meta descriptions, and over the 200 article, I missing the meta description and they did not harm to the specific node ranking. But according to the search engine, meta descriptions are the summary of our articles. So if you use in a very useful way, so here are the thing that you should need to consider. The first one is in a meta descriptions, we repeat the titles in a slightly different way and then expand it further. And then we cover our the micro context. So nothing is random. For example, if you see the title is language schools in Germany and language education. So here German language school and language education in Germany. This is our title with a slightly different version. Now we use some attributes to expand it further. Language is very similar to the schools and courses also these are relevant to each other and prices and duration are further attributes of the courses. And if you see more deeply here, the next we use intenses of this class, the language, and then the German, English, and French. And then we add the attribute that is free. Free is also the connected with the price, and the advantages also connected with the price one more time. And the visa. Why visa at the end? Because we use in a meta description the context terms and the topical entries and the summary of articles. After the title tag, you see if here the best language courses, that means in a document, this is the first thing that I discuss. And if free courses here, so that means it cover after this specific type of discussion in a document. So the point here is whatever I write in a document in a specific order and reflect them in our description. So that's why I say create the patterns, repeat those patterns consistently so the search engine recognize your patterns. That is the best way to communicate with the complex search engine systems. So visa at the end because internal link with the course section that is a study visa or language learning visa. So this is our micro context. In a micro context, we put the internal link to the visa. So that's why in a description we also cover or reflect our micro context. So in the next lecture, we will more talk about the main content and the supplementary content or micro context and macro context. So that's helps you to more understanding to those sections how it works. So before we see one more example of meta description. Now here you can see we've used the words expenses. That is the synonym of costs and the condition of living in Germany. So we repeat the titles in a slightly different way. And then we use the word average life expectancy. That is the member of condition set. And then the cost of rent is we expand the cost and the accommodation, which is the synonym of rent. Then we further add the attribute and here the opportunities, which is our micro context. And why the work opportunity is here? Because we add the internal link to our course section, and also you can see here there is another drop down in the topics. We use another subfolder that is work and then another node the job opportunities. Now the success and the failure of this specific node is does not affect on this section or this section. So the anatomy of the meta description is one thing you need to know is we just repeat our title tag with a slightly different version. Then we add some attributes to expand it further, and we add here the micro context. So these are the three subsection of how the meta description are created. And the meta description are not the sentences, these are the context terms. Sometimes I don't use descriptions, as I say, especially if the article is very long. I am doing it because I want to show the search engine the most relevant part of my web page. If I use description, it sometimes does not happen. But if you distribute it in that way, it's actually way much easier to the search engine to use it in a proper way. So in the next lecture, we will talk about the macro context and micro context, main or a supplementary content.